gets me.
Google canceling a town hall with workers over fears for worker safety. Now, here's what happened. Alt-right bloggers have published the names and pictures of Google workers. They were posing questions for the town hall. The town hall, Google called it to talk about a recent memo by software engineer James Damore. Now, Damore was fired for his memo. He had argued, among other things, that biological differences between men and women explains the gender gap among tech workers in Silicon Valley. Joining me now, Democrat strategist Robin Biro and Independent Women's Forum Board of Directors Nan Hayworth. Nan, Google's CEO, speaking at a female coding event today with this message from the company. Let's listen.
I want you to know that there's a place for you in this industry. There's a place for you at Google. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Wow, the memo hit a nerve, Nan. I mean, Silicon Valley, it professes to be liberal, but studies show 80% are men or Asian men. I mean, there's a real glass ceiling there, right?
Well, certainly it sounds as though there are a lot of legitimate questions about the way the culture in Silicon Valley deals with women. And Google, you know, as a private, I'm libertarian. Google has every right to hire and fire, create their corporate culture, you know, as they see fit. And that's a great message from from Mr. Pichai, obviously. But it is of interest to all of us as a society. Google touches a lot of our information. So how are they handling diversity? Not merely of demographics, which are important, but also of thought and of opinion.
Yeah. You know, Robin, how is this for an idea? Have a town hall with James Damore there, suspend Google's policy about, you know, the smothering, you know, blanket of authoritarianism. That's how Silicon Valley comes across. Instead, have an open debate where people can go at James Damore and say, you know what, you're wrong. How about a real debate, a real town hall? What do you think?
I agree with you, Elizabeth, and that's what they were proposing to have a town hall. That's what happened here. But the issue was that
he wasn't invited. James Damore was not invited.
Exactly. Well, I assume that he's probably in negotiations to write a pretty lucrative book deal right now. So he might just want to sit this one out and see how much money he can make off of this. Because I know, just today alone, he gained over 40,000 Twitter followers. But I just want to say that Google had to take an abundance of caution today to protect the safety for their employees. I understand that. Yeah. There is a problem within the culture. You know, Google was being investigated by the U.S. Department of Labor because women were making about 40% less there at Google. So there was a problem that needed to be addressed. Now, I would say, I don't mean this in a despairing term. I call them the nerd culture. They love to call themselves that. And they would argue that, you know, salary is based off of merit, and that they don't want to see any of these differences outlined. So that's what sparked this fierce controversy. I get it, but in the wake of a pending investigation by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Yeah, that's a good point Robin makes. And Nan, you know, nobody, by the way, it's pathetic to threaten anybody over the internet. I mean, just because it's just pathetic. Just cut that out. But, you know, James Damore failed to note that women software programmers took took the world to the moon and to the outer space. They worked at NASA in the 50s. Half of the programmers in the 50s were women. I mean, it was considered a woman's job back then. I mean, I just think, you know, just have an open debate. Have at it. Have James Damore and just everybody bang at it.
I read his memo in its entirety. And as a woman with a science background, and Robin, thank you for your service to our country, by the way. I mean,
thank you so much.
But as a woman with a science background, I really wasn't offended by it. I didn't feel he took an inflammatory approach. Now, I would disagree with certain of his assertions, but he, frankly, freely said, look, people are going to disagree.
Yeah, that'd be a heck of a town hall, Robin, right? Go ahead, final word.
It would be a wonderful, let's have the conversation. I think it's a great idea. If he were to help to come there to maybe get this conversation started, that would be fantastic. Probably the healing that Google itself as a company right now needs.
Newsflash, Silicon Valley, big glass ceiling there for women. Robin and Nan, thank you so much.